when she was much younger, while I was only 3 or 4. She rolled her eyes at my excitement about the arrival of jolly old Saint Nick, having never bought into it, even when she was just a little girl, according to our dad. That's fine, I thought. Don't matter if you believe in him, 'cause he believes in you. Not the most well thought out inner argument, but it was good enough for an imaginative kid who couldn't stand the thought of his sister ending up with a stocking full of coal, even if she was being a jerk about the whole thing. When that December dragged by at a snail's pace, or so it felt to a kid,
to sleep now.
But, will I mean, does this make me naughty?
No, young Mr. Cobb, you have graced my nice list exclusively for years,
he said with a hearty chuckle.
I was a curious child myself once, so very long ago.
Finally feeling comfortable enough to raise my eyes to meet those of the man who stood beside the couch, I found my voice silenced when I met his smiling face. While things were still somewhat out of focus from the lingering effects of the camera flash, what I saw through the haze was far from what I expected. Whether it was the fact that the skin tone of the left side of the face was not the same as the right, the green and red threads holding the mismatched flaps of skin together, or the two different colors and sizes of the eyes were what caught me more off guard. I didn't know. Whatever aspect of this crudely priced together thing, for lack of a better term, I was certain that this could not truly be who I had expected a visit from the snowy Christmas morning. As my jaw fell open, a scream caught in my throat as the creature in the red suit swiftly and firmly placed a hand over my mouth.
No,
He said, smiling so widely that a few stitches popped where his mouth was hemmed on the left side.
there's no sense in allowing your curiosity to wake everyone else in the house.
I was frozen when the sight of this patchwork man caused my guilt to be replaced with fear I had never known. My whole body trembled as the one green and one hazel eye glared into mine. Tears were streaming down my face and over the padded glove that rested over my mouth, while my mind fought to wrap around what I was looking at.
There's nothing to fear, my boy,
He said, winking the brown eye, his words now accompanied by a whistle through the gap on the side of his mouth.
I may not look as you imagined, but I assure you I am who you sought to meet this night.
What are you? I asked, pulling the hand from my mouth with my shivering fingers.
You know who I am, Edward.
No, you can't be. I shook my head almost violently as I pushed my shoulder blades against the back of the couch, as though this would somehow grant me freedom from this hideous thing. The smile faded from the patchy bearded face as those opposing eyes glared down at me, while he hung his head, turning away from me. He strolled to my father's recliner, which sat diagonally across from where I lay. When he spun against to face me, lowering himself into my dad's favorite chair, we just glared at one another, my eyes still filled with terror, and his with something resembling shame.
I have been doing this for a long time, Edward.
He said in a strangely compassionate voice.
Immortality, I can assure you, does not come without a cost.
You can't be him. I won't believe it. I said, still shaking my head in denial.
I am, young Mr. Cobb. I am so sorry that I am not what you expected, but I assure you there is no need to be afraid. I would never hurt a child.
Not even the naughty ones.
Not even. Not when they're still young enough to change anyway.
Even if they're really bad.
No, not ever. Never a child. Not if I can help it. Besides, that's what the train is for.
The train.
Nothing to concern yourself semblance of appreciation for what I put myself through to continue to give you ungrateful children a happy Christmas.
I shook my near spasming head, not in response to his question, but in further denial of what I was witnessing.
I turned myself into an abomination for you and all of the other kids out there. Is that not good enough?
I turned away from him, finally allowing my gaze to drift from his.
Look at me,
He shouted, reclaiming my unyielding attention as he practically leapt to his feet, whipping the hat from his scalp and tearing open his coat. The scars and stitched together mismatched shades of flesh across his emaciated chest almost caused me to scream out so loudly I may just wake the dead as well as my sleeping family. The stringy and matted patchwork hair and mangled scalp looked as though the thread holding it together would pop loose any second, unzipping the seams to reveal little more than a skull beneath.
this is what I had to become to continue on my chosen path.
He said in a cracking voice, pulling his coat back shut.
I became this monstrosity for you, for all of the children of the world.
He paced closer to me again, inspiring me to attempt to force myself deeper into the cushion as he crouched down to look directly into my eyes. My tears let loose, transforming from the tickling stream to a veritable hurricane.
Stop that.
He gripped his fingers around my shoulders so tightly I thought he planned to claim my arms, to stash them away for a rainy day. While I became aware of the fact that one of the hands felt so much larger than the other, far stronger as well, that only drove the madness of it all so much deeper into my brain.
Look at the wonders I brought you.
He said, removing one hand to gesture to the pile of neatly wrapped presents.
Is it too much to expect a little gratitude?
The mismatched scowl softened to reveal his own glassy eyes, glistening in the soft illumination of the festive lights upon the tree. In that moment, even though my horror-stricken vision at the time, I could finally make out the melancholy and hurt-filled expression of the kind face hidden away behind the grotesque patchwork flesh. Thank you, I said, my tears finally dissipating. And I'm sorry. Sorry I got scared. It's just...
No,
he said, his grip softening on my shoulders.
it is I who should apologize, my dear young man.
His hand fell limp to his side, tracing his padded glove across the carpeted floor as he hung his head, shying his eyes away from mine. I let the blanket slip from my fingers, raising my hand to his cold and wrinkled cheek. It actually feels kinda neat, I said, running my no longer shivering digits across the seam, holding the upper flap of his face to the lower. Does it hurt? He just shook his head, still seemingly studying the floor beneath his knees.
Only at first. Goes numb after a time.
I bet that's a good thing when it's really cold out, I said sincerely, shifting myself closer to him. I played in the snow today, and my skin felt like it was on fire after a while.
Is that right?
He said with a chuckle, raising his eyes back to meet mine.
It has been a long time since I felt anything like that.
It really sucked, because I wanted to stay out there, but I couldn't even make my fingers move. They were so cold. When I came back inside, I got crazy pins and needles. Though the smile he returned seemed to lighten up his face, a few more stitches popped loose on the side of his mouth, almost reawakening the fear I had begun to bury away. When he raised the gloved hand to the loose thread, I could see the shame returning as he turned his gaze from mine once more. Want me to help you fix it? My mom showed me how to sew a bit when I kept tearing up the knees of my pants. No, he said with a half smile on the side of his mouth that
afraid I must be going, my young friend. Many more children on my list before the sun rises.
I pulled back my blanket, jumped to my feet, and approached the man in the red suit, no longer afraid of what he had in store for me. I really am sorry, Santa, I said, feeling my back tense again from my guilt.
No, my boy,
He said, turning to face me.
It is I who owes you an apology. It has been many years since I have allowed this,
He held his hand to his face.
to be seen by anyone aside from those I work alongside. I almost forgot how jarring it can be to the unsuspecting.
I reached up to wrap my fingers around the puffy mitten of his left hand. He winced at first, as though shocked by this act. But when I tightened my grip to reassure him, I felt my heart skip a little when my hand closed around the empty section of the padding. I looked up to him as though wordlessly asking if it was alright before I slipped the glove from his hand. I felt my jaw fall loose when my eyes made the sight of the 3 missing fingers, leaving only a forefinger and thumb in their stead. What happened? I stuttered, not from fear this time, but from the sadness awakening within me.
A small accident some weeks back.
He said, almost dismissively.
Nothing to worry about, young lad.
Can you get new ones?
Soon enough, my boy. I just need the right donor.
He replied with a warm smile. But you said you wouldn't hurt nobody, I said, feeling my heartbeat quicken again.
I would never hurt a child, dear Edward.
He said, pulling the mitten back over his hand.
But a few lumps of coal are not quite as effective to a naughty adult.
With that, he gave me a quick wink, tousled my hair again with his fully fingered right hand, and picked a large bag back up.
You had better get some sleep now.
While I was still pretty freaked out by everything that night had presented me with, I no longer felt afraid of the patchwork man in the red and white suit. Before I walked back to the couch, I wrapped my arms around him, apologizing one last time for acting like such a jerk. He just laughed, gently returning my hug.
Merry Christmas, Edward Cobb.
He said with a slight crack in his voice. Merry Christmas, Santa. I replied, finally releasing my grip to head back to my warm blanket. When I climbed back under the covers, I glanced back to the tree to see no trace of jolly old Saint Nick, but I think I expected that. I heard no hooves stomping across the roof high above, no jovial chuckles as he rode out of earshot, only the silence of the house at rest. By the time I awoke the following morning, greeted by my loving parents, excited sister, and a good many presents to open up, I had already convinced myself that I had eaten far too much junk food the night before. That was always a safe enough explanation for my more bizarre and far-out dreams. I even found my camera hidden away beneath the blanket with not even one picture having been taken. After Christmas morning proceeded like normal. Well, normal from what I had experienced over my handful of years by that point. My father received the phone call. He looked almost puzzled when he glanced at the caller ID before answering, but the confused expression on his face quickly turned to something more concerned and uneasy. He whispered to my mother words I could not make out, causing her face to mimic his at the time, but he turned down her offer to accompany him as he threw on some warmer clothing, almost sprinting out the front door. "Where's your dad?"